Hey guys, so welcome to this new video. The video is about Psychology of Money, a very popular book that you also might have come across in the internet. So I gave it a shot. So I kind of liked it. So I'm just putting out some pointers that I have in my mind after reading this. Um, Definitely, it's a good read if you are someone who is trying to figure out personal finance, how to you know um, where to start, etc. Right. So um, for me, this book was more of a theoretical stuff than practical. If you're trying to read this book thinking that you'll get very practical step by step advice on how to make more money, save, etc. You wouldn't get that in this book. It is kind of a macro stuff, high level stuff in which we can learn a lot of different concepts, and maybe your perspective about money itself might change, right? So uh, without any ado, I'm just getting into this video. And also you can put this video in 2x speed or 1.5x speed to get save more time. And also please subscribe if you haven't, or like the video if you like the video at the end of the video. So getting into the pointers, first one is I have put the first pointer itself as one of the most astonishing points that I got from the book, that is um, making the goalpost stop moving, right? So what Morgan says is that um, a lot of people have goalpost in terms of personal finance. For example, everybody dream of getting to the million mark, and when you get to the million mark, you want to then get to 10 million mark. Then you want to get to be a billionaire, right? Even though getting to 1 million itself qualifies you to be among what 1% or 0.5% or 0.005% of the entire population in the world. So people forget that, and people strive to get more, even though uh, they don't necessarily need it. And while chasing that, they get into a lot of scams, or they take the wrong path, and at the end of the day, when those things get caught, all of the reputations that they have built, till the hard work and everything that happened behind the scenes, that helped them become a reach the first million or second million, goes into waste, right? So he also says an example of someone who became a millionaire, and he wasn't satisfied, and he wanted to become a multi-millionaire, billionaire, and he did some inside trading in his company, and maybe after 1 or 2 week, the uh, you know, uh, he was caught, and he was fined a huge amount, and his entire reputation as a businessman broke down, and he had to, and after a couple of years he had to file bankruptcy, right? So that's an example, right? Maybe you should just have a goal to reach maybe 1 million or 10 million, and plan how to reach there. And then when you reach there, maybe you shouldn't move the goalpost further if there is no actual real um, you know functionality, or you have really great things to do in the world. Maybe you shouldn't move forward, right? So that's one thing. It could be wrong, right? It's according to how you take it. And the second one is compounding, which you might already know about, the magic of compounding, right? So um, uh, he tells a short story about Warren Buffett. um, you know Out of the 84 billion that he has, Warren Buffett earned 81 billion after the age of 65, right? Till 65 he was only worth 4 billion. After 65 was worth, grew to 85 billion, maybe after 5 to 10 years after 65, right? So that's the power of compounding. He started young in his 20s, and till 65 he only had 4 billion, and then after 65 it kind of grew exponentially and gave him humongous results, right? So always, when it comes to personal finance or anything finance, compounding is something that you shouldn't miss out. Find ways to compound your money, and it will, at the end of the day, give you exponential results. Third one is social comparison. This is also kind of clubbed to the first point, in which, for example, if you are just a normal employee in a normal company, then you'll be comparing yourself with your colleagues, right? How rich is he? What are the incentives that he's getting? What is the car that he's driving? And you'll be trying to beat him in terms of this car, in terms of the house size, in terms of the incentives that you're getting, etc. Right? And maybe then you start a startup, and then you will be comparing yourself with the same amount of the startup founders who are kind of peers in the community. You'll be looking at the salaries that you're driving, etc., all these things. Then you finally crack that and you become a millionaire. Then you will be looking at um, people who are worth hundreds of millions, right? Then you'll be going to clubs, you'll be trying to hang out with them. Then you will understand that okay, you just have an Audi and they are owning um, the top end or the most premium BMWs or uh, Benz or something like that, right? Then you are comparing yourself with those people who are worth hundreds of millions, and you are right now worth only 1 million, and you're sad again. Then you reach 100 million, then you're comparing yourself with billionaires, right? Who could be on a very different league, and you'll be trying to fit into that group. And when you become a billionaire, you might be comparing yourself to Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, etc., who is on another range. So it's kind of like that. You might think that you'll stop comparison and you'll become happy when you reach a position, but when you reach that position, you'll have a new world to compare yourself with, right? And that's a very dangerous situation to be in. What you have to look is that whether you are satisfied with that income, and you don't need to worry about societal pressures. It's very easy to say that. I also feel the same. I also compare myself, but whenever the next time you're comparing yourself, you just think about it, right? It doesn't matter what how the other people are buying, other people are owning. It just matters whether you are in control of your finances, and whether you have enough money in your bank, um, uh, given that any emergencies happens, right? Fourth one, really huge point that just stays in my mind after just reading this quote. This is a quote by Napoleon. He talks about the best military guy, and he says that the best military guy is the man who can do the average when all around him are going crazy, right? Brilliant stuff, right? Everybody might, maybe there could be a financial collapse, the economy might be going down, etc., everything could be going down, there could be a pandemic, as the situation is right now. Everything is going crazy, right? So a lot of people might be panicking, right? They'll be trying to get into very shady stuff, trying to put in your money in all the high risk places, or they might even not even do investments because they think that the economy is going down. And either some people go to the extreme, risky situations, and some people go to the other extreme of not even moving an inch and not even investing, right? But at this time of panic, the best decision is to just stick on with the average stuff. Be consistent. If you're having a SIP, say that okay, it doesn't mind, it doesn't affect all these things, external things doesn't affect. I'll be keeping on putting money in my SIP. I'll be buying stocks, which are of companies which are credible, regularly. i'll be I'll be doing my thing. I'll be doing the average thing. I'll be staying consistent, so that in the long run you will have very less downhills, and it will all add up, and at the end of the day it will compound for you. And the fifth one, happiness and money is often clubbed together in a lot of sentences. So he addresses that someone actually did a social experiment in which he surveyed thousands of people who um, were aged about 70, 80, right, who have experienced life to the fullest. And he was asking them what is happiness, right? So the most popular answer that he got was that happiness is a situation when someone can do anything at any time without thinking about anything else, right? You imagine this, that you attain a position in which you can do almost anything that is legal, at any point of time without asking any permissions or without having money as a constraint. We can do it at any time, and you can enjoy it, right? That means freedom, right? So after this, the result of the survey is that you need to have freedom. So the number one thing that stops freedom is that the lack of money, right? Why are you going for that job? Why can't you go to that vacation? Because you cannot go to vacation because you have this job and you will not get leaves for the vacation. And why? Because you don't have money. If you don't go to this job, if you don't do this business, you don't have money, and you basically cannot afford that. So in terms of happiness, in terms of the survey, we have to save or work towards that goal, in which you don't need to worry about money much, and you can take a vacation at any point of time. You can do whatever you want at any point of time. That's the situation of happiness according to this survey. Sixth one, the man in the car paradox, really insightful for me. He says this story, right? When you see a Ferrari or a Porsche or anything like that, um, what we actually think is that we don't actually think about the man sitting inside the car or the man who's owning the car. We just think about something like this, right? What if I had that Porsche, or what if I owned that Ferrari? Everyone around me will feel that I'd be pretty damn cool, right? I'm not thinking about the man inside the car. I'm thinking about myself. I'm putting me in that situation, and I'm thinking about how other people will perceive me, right? But the man inside the car who's actually owning the Ferrari or a Porsche will be thinking that everybody around him is thinking that he is very cool because he owns a Ferrari. But that is not the case. Everybody is thinking themselves in this situation and thinking that if they own that Ferrari, everyone else would um, find that guy cool or wealthy, right? So actually, that is a paradox. So you are not actually um, getting value out of the society by purchasing something really costly, right? Seventh one, everyone says that you have to save with an intention. You have to save to buy a car, buy a house, plan the wedding, etc. But he says that okay, you should have room for error. You should, even though you don't have a plan, you should save money without a plan, because life comes with a lot of surprises, and those surprises shouldn't break you, right? Even though life throws a very bad situation to you, that shouldn't break you financially. So that you should always save money even without a plan, that expecting that something always could go wrong, so that you will have a buffer, right? Even if after taking that hit, you will be you should be able to survive, right? And the eighth one, really interesting, is that people love to hear pessimistic stories rather than optimistic stories. For example, after the 2008 crash, right, on 2010, I think in New York Times there was an article saying that everything is going to get lost, everything is going to get destroyed. Alaska, which is a part of America, USA, USA will be forced to sell Alaska to Russia, and also some other parts of USA. USA might have to sell, literally sell off some of the parts of US to Russia to recover from the losses that are going to come after 2010, right? That was a huge that was an article written in New York Times in the front page, and that got a huge amount of attention, right? And people kind of believed that because a huge crash happened, and this article said that even worse things are going to happen, and people really wanted to read it, right? That worked really well for the newspapers, right, in terms of attention. But as you can see, none of it happened. But he says to imagine this situation, right, after the Second World War, that is 1940s. Imagine seeing this article in a Japanese newspaper saying that in the coming 50 to 60 years time, the economy, which was really terrible at that point after Second World War, Japan's economy was one of the worst at that time. And imagine you know um, reading an article in a newspaper, Japanese newspaper, saying that in the coming years, the economy is going to grow 15 times, and Japan is going to be the manufacturing hub of the world. Is going to export all the stuff that United States will be buying. Then their um, globe will be buying, and United States will be one of the major allies of the Japanese people after the Second World War, etc. Right? If someone wrote that story, people will call them crazy, right? Nobody wrote about it, but that's what actually happened, right? So this is the two situations. People love to read about pessimistic stuff and not very optimistic stuff. They're not a fan of optimistic stories. So you have to pick out what is actually the truth out of it, and optimism is also very highly possible. So when you're investing, you have to be optimistic, right? Otherwise there is no uh, you won't be able to sleep well. If you are a very tight pessimistic, you won't be able to invest money in any new stuff like crypto or a good stock that is coming up, or real estate, right? You won't be able to sleep well. So these are the pointers that I had in mind. I shared it. So if you want to dive deeper, definitely you should buy the book and read it for yourself. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, share, subscribe, etc. So see you in the next video.